you need to move on to figuring out the distance between 2 points. Now, in questions, they might say to you, oh, find the distance between R and S, or find the distance between A and B. Or they might say, find the length of the line AB, or the length of the line RS, if they've drawn a line out for you. So you might be asked to find the length of the line, or you might be asked to find the distance between 2 points. Now, you can see here 4 different lines drawn out on our coordinate plane. 2 of them, P and Q, I'll talk about those first, okay? P and Q. You can see P and Q, that line there is a vertical line. It's straight up. And R and S, this is a horizontal line. It's straight across. So if we have a vertical line and a horizontal line, we don't have to use a formula. We can actually, it's much easier to find the distance between 2 lines. For a horizontal line, I'll have a look at R and S. So I want to find the distance between R and S, or the length of the line RS. So R is above -3 on the x-axis. Can you see that? Just above -3. And S is above 7. So we just need to find the difference between -3 and 7. So how long is the distance between -3 and 7 on the number line? Well, we can count it out. We can go, here's a box, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the length of the line RS, or the distance between RS, is 10 units. Okay? If there's no measurement given, we just write units. Now, another way of looking at this is, well, the distance between 0 and 7 is 7. And then the distance between 0 and -3 is 3. So 3 plus 7 is 10. So you can count it out, or you can look at the difference between the 0 and the 0. The 0 and the -3, and the 0 and the 7. If you're looking at a vertical line, a line that's straight up, we need to use the y-axis, because obviously Q is at -3 and P is at -3, so that's not going to help us find the distance between P and Q. But we can look at the y-axis. So Q is at 5 and P is at 10. So what's the difference between 5 and 10? It's 5. The distance between 5 and 10 is 5 units. So you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the length of the line PQ is 5 units, or the distance between P and Q, same thing, is 5 units. So that is a horizontal line and a vertical line. However, if we want to find the distance between A and B, or F and G, we can't count out easily the distance between, because if you look here, this is not the same length. This distance between here and here is not the same length as one box. So we can't really measure it out. So we have to use a formula, which if you're a Leaving Cert student, you'll be given a logbook or you'll be offered a logbook, and this formula will be in the logbook. So you don't have to memorize it. However, you'll be practicing it so much that you'll probably remember it. So the formula is square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So first thing we need to do is we need to identify the two coordinates. So we need to find out what is the coordinate for A and what is the coordinate for B. So A is above 1, so 1, and it's level with 4, so it's 1 and 4. And then B is above 7, it's above 7. And then B is level with 8. So now we have our two coordinates. So from here on out, all the formulas that we're going to be using in coordinate geometry, we're going to have to label our coordinates. This first coordinate is the x coordinate. We learnt that in the last video. And the second coordinate is the y. And over here as well, this is also the x and this is the y. But when we're using this formula, we have two sets of coordinates. This is the first set and this is the second set. You can use either in either order, okay? But I just went in this order today. So this is the first x and this is the first y. This is the second x and this is the second y. So now we've labeled our coordinates. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to draw out an empty version of our formula. So I'm going to have a bracket here, a plus, bracket here, and then there's a minus in the middle here, and there's two little squares there. Now I'm going to put these numbers in the correct order into my formula. So it's x2 minus x1. What's x2? x2 is 7 minus x1. x1 is 1. And here we have y2 minus y1. So y2 is 8 and y1 is 4. So we've just put these numbers in the correct order in here. Now, if we use BOMDAS or BIMDAS, we know that we have to do the sums inside of the brackets first. So what is 7 minus 1? It is 6. And what is 8 minus 4? 8 minus 4 is 4. So 6 multiplied by 6, because that's what 6 squared is. 6 sixes are 36. And that is plus 4 multiplied by 4, so that is 16. And then we do it again. So 36 plus 16 is 52. So we are going to find the square root of 52. So I type in 52, and your calculators may do this differently, and then I hit the square root, and we can see a big long number, but we can round it up to be 7.2. The square root of 52 is 7.2. And now we figured out the length of the line A and B, or A to B. We figured out the length of the line AB. The distance between A and B is 7.2. Okay. Now we are going to have a look at this line here, F and G. So F and G. First thing we do is we identify what the coordinates are for F. So F is above minus 7 on the x-axis, so that's minus 7. And it is level with 2 on the y-axis, so it's 2 here. And G is 5 on the x-axis, below 5 on the x-axis, and it's level with minus 6. Minus 6. And now we're going to label. We're going to do x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to put it into our formula. Now this one is slightly different. It's a little bit more technical, but I'm doing the format the same. I am setting up an empty template for our distance formula. Now x2 minus x1. What is x2? x2 is 5. Minus x1. All right, so minus, now this minus here, this minus here is from the formula. All right, but we're putting in a negative number. We're putting in minus 7. So we'll deal with that now in a second. Over here, y2 minus y1. y2 is minus 6, so minus 6 goes in here. And then minus y1. y1 is 2. Okay, now we'll move on to the next layer. So we have to deal with what's inside the brackets first. So this minus in the formula affects this minus here. It's like an algebra. This minus is being multiplied by this minus. So actually what we end up with here is not 5 minus 7. because this minus multiplied by this minus is going to become a plus, so it's going to become a plus 7. So it's 5 plus 7, which is 12. And then we have our little squared, and it's plus here. Now, minus 6 minus 2, that is minus 8, and it's squared. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to square the numbers. 12 multiplied by 12 is 144. And then minus 8 multiplied by minus 8. 8 eighths are 64. Now a minus by a minus is a plus. So we end up with plus 64. So we add those two together. 144 plus 64 is 208. Now we need to find the square root of 200. We put in 208 and we want to find the square root. And that is going to be 14.4. 14.4. 14.4. And that's our answer. That is the length of the line FG. Or it's the distance between FG. 14.4. So with this sum, you needed to be careful of these signs, these symbols changing, and this one here changing. And this would be a little bit more technical than say AB, which was where we were dealing with all positive numbers.